Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Really slow price action. The structure hasn't changed at all since the last update. The price is still dancing in our micro support area and doesn't show much strength. That adds up with my overall perspective that we have not yet seen the lowest point of this correction, which started on the 11th of March, I think it was here. So we haven't seen the lowest point. I would still like to see a C wave to the downside. I mean, not that I want to see it necessarily, but looking at the price structure, it was quite, let's say, obvious from the beginning that this correction is not yet over. And if it is, I need to see more evidence for it. So this price structure that we've seen here, it starts to look more and more like a possible wedge pattern. There are different ways how this could be drawn, but it looks more and more like a wedge pattern. I will take out these trend lines again, but see, could be dealing with something like this here. Maybe I'll actually leave them in. But yeah, these patterns eventually often break to the downside. They are not so trustworthy, and trend lines are not the most reliable patterns or structures. If you draw these wedges, trend lines are very crude tools. I like to use the Elliott Waves, and for me, it's still a reasonable interpretation to expect one more high in this corrective rally. And however, there are quite a few ways how this corrective rally can unfold and which pathway the correction might take from here. So first of all, I think it's important to recognize that the support area here, the larger support zone, hasn't changed, and the main support level really that ideally holds is at 2,977. The problem is that if the price doesn't form a healthy B-wave corrective rally within this correction, the C-wave in the end might run out of space, and there's a real risk that this 50% fib level is broken and that Ether's chart morphs into a different wave pattern on the daily chart. We talked about that, I think, yesterday, shared with you the different scenarios on the daily time frame. Now, this B-wave rally, I mean, what are the pathways? So first of all, I have no evidence that the corrective rally is over. So we talk about a relief rally here, a correction of the initial correction down. So it's a correction within a correction. It's a relief rally, yeah, but it's not really a trending move. It's a counter trend move, which is correcting, at least in my interpretation, this initial move down. So you get a relief rally from that, which is not very strong. So price action is quite weak to the upside, which again adds up with my perspective that there should still be a C wave to the downside, which is just one of the key Elliott wave patterns that we use here for this correction. A wave, B wave, and the C wave. The higher the B wave goes, the more space the C wave will have, and the higher the probability that the $2,977 level will hold. Now looking at the microstructure here, you can see that we have within the B wave rally an A wave completed that was the top of the 21st of March, in which the price topped at 3,590. A B wave pullback, in which here on the 22nd of March the price bottomed at 3,255. And then normally we would expect a C wave to get to 3,818. Well, in this case, that level, but it's the 100% extension level. Now that level hasn't been reached yet. Instead, the price is hovering just below the golden ratio level, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement at 3,665. And in this yellow structure, we'd like to see one more high in wave C of 5. So it's possible that in the C wave, the first 3 waves completed. This was a 4th wave low, and the 5th wave might already be unfolding. But ultimately, because this is so messy, there are many ways how this could unfold, really. I mean, it's even possible that it's forming a WXY structure, and this here is a B wave pullback, especially if we go a little lower. So there are many patterns, that could apply here for tracking this correction. It's even possible this 4th wave might still be unfolding. So different patterns. We need to be flexible in corrections anyway. It so far worked quite nicely. I don't think we had any micro support break in this correction, so we can still track higher. First indication that something, let's say, more directly bearish is going on would be a break below 3,446. But then it could, and we know that this could still be a B wave pullback here, which could come down a little bit lower. But for now, I'm tracking the yellow count, in which, to be honest, the price shouldn't ideally break below 3,446. And if it does that, well, that helps us to rule out the yellow count as it is. And we might then rather track this sort of B wave, okay, the white count, which is, as I said, a WXY structure. These corrections tend to morph, so we shouldn't be surprised. I just don't want anybody to be surprised in case we see a deeper B wave. This is incredibly slow, but until I see a support level break, I focus on the current structure. Yeah, and eventually then after the next high, it would be, well, the next high at least has the potential to complete this entire corrective rally, and we can start the C wave to the downside. Once I have a B wave top in place, I can calculate a target for the C wave to the downside for you. That's my update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.